Hey, how you doing? Brian Cain here with Erin Young and the team Allie, Beth podcast, where we're talking about the real estate mindset. And Erin, super excited today to chat with you about both of our favorite books is the book Legacy by James Kerr about the New Zealand All Blacks and their rugby team. And they're one of the most dominant sports organizations across all sports. It's a book that we kind of hinted to on our last call. And, I wanted to talk about that. And then also the number one thing that you can do as an agent to give you that best chance for success, right? To build that competitive edge like we talked about last week. But speaking of competitive edge, before we started this recording, you shared a story with me about the 2022 kickoff meeting for Team Allie, Beth, in a quote that just changed my life when you shared it with me. Would you share that story again? This time we'll get it on the podcast because I thought it was so powerful.
Absolutely. We kicked off the year with Allie, Beth, Allman in our sales meeting, and 2021 was a record-breaking year. So, Keith and I know that going into 2022, there's definitely going to be some challenges, low inventory, rates were being talked about as coming up, which they have, and we've witnessed all of those things. And so, with 2022 not likely to be as great as 2021, we talked about it possibly being a turn in the market. I asked Allie, Beth, what do you expect or anticipate for 2022? And she said, I sell real estate. That's what we do. We sell real estate. It doesn't matter if it's a great year, a record-breaking year, or the worst year ever. We sell real estate, and that's just what we do. And it just gave perspective to what's going to happen. It's not all the other things that go on around you. It's how you handle those things and what you do on your part to make things happen.
I love that. It's like a mindset of life is not about what happens to you. It's about what you do with what happens to you, right? That attitude is a decision. And, it's interesting. My mentor, Dr. Ken Ravizza, who I have his face tattooed on my heart. He changed my life. He's one of the best mentor I could have had in mental performance. And he used to do some work with the All Blacks. And one of the things he used to always say, and I didn't realize it was an All Blacks principle at the time, is he says, you have to embrace expectations. He goes, if there's no pressure, there's no diamonds. And that's a concept that they talk about in this book, Legacy, in that, pressure is a privilege. Pressure means you're in the right place. Pressure means you're about to do something big. Pressure means you're doing something that you're passionate about. So I think we have to create the right expectations. And a lot of times an expectation on, I'm going to do a certain number can motivate you. But I want our agents to set expectations around their behavior. I want them to set expectations around what they do on a daily basis, because it's what you do on a daily basis in that consistency over time that's going to drive that bottom line number. So, I think when we talk about another key concept from the book Legacy is that better people make better All Blacks, right? And the All Blacks, when they're recruiting players for their organization, which is the most successful sports organization in the world, they've won over 80% of their games. They're the current world champions in international rugby. And one of the things that they always start with is they say character counts. And the best player isn't the person they're looking for. They're looking for the player who's best for the program, right? So what does that mean for you, Erin, and some of the concepts that you were able to take from Legacy and apply, you think, to our agents with Allie, Beth?
That one in particular is so true. It has a lot to do with character. It's how they fit in, how they're going to, with the company, how are they going to relate to the other agents? How are they going to relate to their clients? We at Allie, Beth, Allman, we focus on a referral-based business. We do like a percentage of new business coming in every year, but the majority of it, we want it coming from agents and their network and how they deal with things. And it has a lot to do with character, how they take care of all the little things. And, and just like in the book, I think, I don't remember specifically, but in the very beginning, there was something about how, I want to say the best player on the team was like cleaning the floor or sweeping the floor or something. And, and that's, there's, you want to have self-respect and confidence, but at the same time, you don't want to be too good for anything.
Yeah, they talk about sweeping the sheds, right? Sweeping the sheds is a principle of the All Blacks. And imagine this, imagine that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers win the Super Bowl and they got Tom Brady, the 8-time Super Bowl champion, maybe the greatest athlete of success-wise in American sports history. And at the end of the game in the locker room, after the team is celebrated, and then there's confetti and there's champagne bottles and there's everything all over the place, Tom Brady takes a broom out of his bag and he sweeps up the locker room and leaves it cleaner than he found it, so that the maintenance staff at the arena doesn't have to clean the locker room. Tom Brady's going to clean it, because the greatest honor that could be bestowed upon him would be to serve his team. And it's interesting. And we use this book. I do some consulting at Yale University with their football program, and their head coach, Tony Reno, has the team read this book every year. So that if you go through Yale in 4 years, you're going to read it 4 times if you're playing football. I talk about like a repetition, right? And one year, I think it was 2018, the last time maybe they won the Ivy League. Anyway, he brought 2 brooms out. He gave one to the captain, and then he had a broom that was given out to a different player of the day. The team got to vote on who that practice player of the day was. And at the end of practice, those 2 had to sweep the locker room before they could get on the bus and drive back to campus. And I remember the second day, the captain calls the team up, has a team meeting, and says to the guys, look, this is going to be the standard. Your chair is going to be up in your locker. Your helmet's going to be here. Your shoulder pads are going to be here. Your spikes are going to be up on top of your locker, because I had to pick all that stuff up yesterday when I was sweeping the locker room, and I got to get back and do school. Everyone take care of your own house. Everyone do your part, and collectively the whole succeeds. Everyone do your part, and collectively we do $4 billion. So the next day he sweeps the locker room, probably 20 minutes afterwards. And 2 days later, the head coach gets a knock on his door from the custodian. And the custodian's like, hey, coach, you guys not practicing? What's going on in the program? The coach is like, what are you talking about, not practicing? He goes, I've been in there to sweep the locker room the last 2 days, and there hasn't been a thing to sweep. Like, what's going on? I'm confused. And the coach filled them in on what was going on, and the next day praised the team because they took ownership of it. And that year, that ownership led to them winning a championship. And I think when we talk about taking ownership, and we talk about owning how you perceive pressure, how you don't make excuses, you make it happen, how you stay so clear, as Allie Beth talked about, with the mission is we sell real estate. It's what we do. It's who we are. It's how we operate. It doesn't matter the market. The market doesn't control what we do. We control what we do, right? And it's not the market. It's how we perform. And it's interesting this weekend, right? A lot of teams across the country competing for conference championships. I've got 4 fighters in the UFC competing this weekend in Phoenix, which is super exciting. And the message is, look, it's not who you fight against, it's how you fight. It's not where you sell, it's how you sell. It's not, where you play, it's how you play. And so many times I think we forget that we are part of the equation, right? We are part of the performance. So what would you say are some of those other key concepts, maybe from the book or around like that ownership mindset that you've seen your most successful agents have?
I would, going back to, this is what we do. It is taking pride, and that's who you are, and, not letting what others perceive you to be, in regards to a salesperson, and really owning, like, hey, I sell real estate. This is my career. This is how I do it. And then also some other things that we've also, we've talked about are the consistency. And as our theme of this year is the relentless consistency. And we try and talk about that each week, but, just being consistent with what you do, what defines you, and doing that every day, without fail. That's, one of the big parts of what gets you there.
Yeah, and that relentless consistency, Erin, is a great segue into kind of what we left as the cliffhanger on our last episode of how do you give yourself the best chance to create that competitive edge? Well, you just said it, right? It's through relentless consistency. And that consistency has to be measured, because measurement equals motivation, and we treasure the things that we measure. And if I'm not measuring my performance, right? If I'm not measuring my performance, that's like competing in golf with no hole in the ground. We're just out there hitting balls. Right? That's like I'm competing with no scoreboard. Who's winning? I don't know. We're just playing, right? So your scoreboard is not just your end of the year bottom line. How many deals did you do? That will take care of itself when you take care of the day-to-day scoreboard. And that's an app that I want to talk about today that I think is the #1 difference maker and needle mover in 20 years of doing mental performance coaching. It's called Habit Share. So here's the app. I'm going to link to it in the show notes below. This is the app Habit Share. It's a free download for your phone. And what Habit Share is, this is my personal, is a success checklist. So when we talk about creating, better people make better All Blacks, better people make better agents, how do you become a better version of yourself? Well, for me, I have a success checklist that every day, these are the things I want to do. I want to see the sunrise 3 days a week, so I'm up early. I want to keep my body weight under 185. I want to execute on these different recovery scores that I have with wearables where I track my recovery. I want to make my bed. It's great because I get up before my wife. I want to feed my dogs. I want to have collagen and coconut in my coffee in the morning. I want to read a philosopher's notebook. I want to do my success journal. I want to do haggle statements, which we'll talk about on another podcast. I want to read my own 30-day athletes program. I have all these different things that I want to do as part of my daily routine. Now, this obviously looks different for me as a mental performance coach than it would look like for you as a real estate agent, but understand this. Measurement is motivation. And when you have a success checklist of what it is you're trying to do on a consistent basis, you will increase your awareness. And awareness is the first step to growth. So Erin, as we're talking about this app habit share and your agents, maybe when they're brushing their teeth at night, going back through and logging their behavior metrics for the day, what do you think would be like three behaviors or routines that your agents could track that everyone would benefit from regardless of where they're at in their career?
I think you've got to focus on something that's personal, something that's spiritual, and something that's, business oriented. So if you have something simple, with regards to, the physical part of, or personal, like whether it's physical and getting up and exercising, or, I think you're saying all the time that's movement before screens. Yeah. Sweat before screens. Yeah. Something like that tends to do a lot for people. On the spiritual, whether, it's their daily prayers or, whatever it is that they read, just their quietness, their meditation, something along those lines. And then business, getting up in the morning. And I always say, reach out to 3 people, just even if it's a text, how are you, thinking about you, hope you have a great day. Let me know if there's anything I can do for you, and just something as simple as that, and see what comes back to you. Those are a couple of things that are easy to do and accomplish.
Yeah. It's interesting you mentioned that last piece of going through your text messages and reaching out to somebody. I heard a piece of advice from somebody who I really respect, who does really, really well in marketing and sales. And he said one of his daily routines is he has either on his phone or his computer. No, I don't use my phone. I clear out my text messages on my phone. I know some people don't. I do, but I don't clear them on my computer. So they all show up there. So I'll sit down on my computer. I go to my bottom 3 all the way to the end. In the bottom 3, I just send a little text message. Hey, Erin, how you doing? Thinking of you. Hope you're having a great day. Hope things are good. Where are you at in life? What's happening? Send. And you never know how many of those come back with a, hey, I was thinking about reaching out to you. I'm glad you reached out. I know so-and-so is looking for a mental performance coach, right? Hey, we're having this event. Funny you reached out. We were talking about speakers today. Would you be interested in speaking at this event? So it doesn't happen every day, but I'd say at least once a month, I get some sort of business opportunity out of just doing that text message to the bottom 3 people in my text messages on my computer. The only reason in the bottom 3 is that they've been the longest time since I've texted them. Right.
Yeah.
So those are strategies. And I think that's the biggest thing I want to end today's call with, is understanding that, look, success, whether it's in real estate, mental performance, athletics, whatever it is, success is not a talent game. It is a strategy game. And you can be, have, and do anything you want when you have the right strategies. And the goal with this podcast is we bring to you personal development, growth, and mental performance strategies that can help you close the gap from where you are to where you want to be with your business, with your personal life, to help you be the best you, because a better you is a better agent. Just like with the most successful sports team in the world, better people make better All Blacks. So Erin, thanks for joining me here on today's podcast. Super excited to catch up with you again next week. But until then, hey, it's a great day to be with Team Allie, Beth. Let's not count the days. Let's make those days count. See you, everybody.